Hey everybody, we are going to take a break today and do something a little different. We're going to go hang out at Tamper Special together. This is a good way to get out the house, a good way to enjoy a different atmosphere. So here we are. I am about 10 minutes up the road. This is a place I go to all the time. People here are really nice. The coffee here is really good. So we're going to have a little fun together and just enjoy being at the cafe. So interesting enough, I did this picture quite some time ago. Actually, the drawing is really old. I was inspired by an artist named The Little Mew. She does really cute little knickknacks, and it encouraged me to do this picture. Again, just very inspired by her work. So this had been sitting around for a long time, and I didn't really know what to do with it. I was going to put them in a set of 4 and put it on my Kofi or my Etsy shop. But why sell what I can give to you for free? This is why I will remain poor. But that's okay. We're going to have a lot of fun coloring this one together. I have a fantastic color palette in mind for this, and I'm hoping I can pull it off. What I'm wanting to do is give these characters, give these bookmarks almost like a wash look, where I will have the colors from the flowers and from the character kind of bleeding into the background, so it's an extension of those colors. And if I could pull it off, it's going to be really pretty because it's really pretty in my head. So funny enough, this visit here was done quite some time ago to this cafe. I was working on an upload for my Kofi subscribers, and I was going to do this color along there, a Kofi Cafe color along. But my goal kind of shifted a little bit, where I wanted to start traveling from a really close cafe and get further and further away until I made it to Cafe Du Mont in Louisiana. And I thought that would be a lot of fun. But before I had this idea, this was like my 3rd trip doing these over at Tamper Special. So I didn't want a repeated cafe color along. So I figured, you know what, I got this. Let me go ahead and edit it. Let me make it good. I really like this picture, and I think a lot of y'all will appreciate it. And let's be honest, after my horrible Halloween scarecrow color along, I need to redeem myself. So I'm hoping this picture does it for me. But I wanted to give this away here, and I wanted to share this video here on YouTube just because I think a lot of y'all will enjoy this. And just to fill you in on what is in my head for this color palette, I'm going to do a 2-to-1 ratio. That is to say, I'm going to use 2 cools to 1 warm. This is something I learned way back in the day at the Art Institute. In color theory, one of the ways you could always assure that you're going in the direction is doing a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you want 2 warm colors, you could mix in 1 cool, or 1 cool to every 2 warms. Well, this I'm doing 2 cools, so I'm going to do blues and greens, and then my 1 warm is going to be yellows. So I'm going to keep this cat white for the most part. So I'm adding these grays here. I'm going to feather that in with a blender, but his stripes are going to remain blue, so he's going to be colored very simple, where those blue stripes are just going to make him really pop. And then I'm going to do a background around him to really make him pop more. And the background is important because he's going to be a white cat. It will just help emphasize the fact that he is indeed white and not just left blank. Now, I know I have said in the past that I don't use white as a blender unless I'm specifically trying to add pastels to my colors, but this is one of those times where a white can be used because I'm trying to really lighten that pink, so it's okay that it becomes a pastel. And the grays as well, I want to feather those out into the white, so this is acceptable. Also, I forgot my blender, and normally I might not be using this white as a blender. It's too soft. I would use something like a color specifically on these grays. I might use the white to go into the blues, but ideally, yeah, again, this will work, and I'm not unhappy with it. But for the cheeks, I would use a color, maybe even a master's touch, but definitely for the grays, I would use something way more aggressive than a white color pencil because I'd want to really, really feather those out. But we make do, don't we? If I am lucky enough and you have found your way onto my channel for the first time and this is my first color along that you're watching, normally I don't do this, not at a cafe anyway. This is just something I personally enjoy, and I know a few of you enjoy it as well. It's just a really fun, nice thing to get out the house for a while and to surround ourselves with the ambience of a cafe, with other people, with the pleasures that come along with just getting out. But in doing so, you will notice you are surrounded by the ambience of a cafe. So I can't really control all that. For the most part, I like it. You'll hear the steamer, you'll hear the clanking of the dishes and the background noises from people conversing and just having a good time. I can't control all that, nor do I really want to, but sometimes their volume gets a little loud. I try my best in editing to fix it so it's not jarring to you. But the other thing I will do is I will insert classical music along with the composer and the title, so we kind of learn as we go. But I do this sometimes a lot because the cafes themselves have a soundtrack usually playing overhead. Sometimes it's a lot louder than others, but for copyright reasons, I have to try my best to drown that out. So bear with me for some of the more overlapping songs you may hear sometimes. It's just me trying to do my best to get away with making this video the best I can, while still using all the natural ambience of the cafe. Now, again, because I did not bring my blender set, I'm just going to use the lightest color I have, in this case the light blue, and I'm going to try my best to use that as the blender by overlapping my medium blue and my light blue and my dark blue. And then I'm going to go over it again with the darkest blue I have to really pop out the colors, and because I'm going to lighten it with this blue, and I want that to be really rich and dark. And then when I'm done all that, then I'll go over in certain areas and touch it up with the white, again using it as a blender. So here with this white, I'm getting the top of the leaves where the highlights are. I'm not even going to go into that deep blue. I don't want to lighten that up at all. And I've already used the light blue as a blender there, so I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm just trying my best to push the colors to kind of weld them up top between the medium blue and the light blue. And now I'm going to go into it again with the dark blue to make sure that I'm popping out all my highlights. And I just really like the way this deep midnight blue looks as it pulls you into the depths of the rose. As simple as it is, I really like the way the green changes the entire feel of the image. If I were to have used something like an ochre, like if I went from an ochre into a brown and did the whole thing like almost like autumn colors, it would have just changed the entire atmosphere of the picture. By using these greens against that blue, it just makes the thing almost seem very surreal, like it's living more in a fantasy type of world as opposed to something that would be more autumn. And it just goes to show how you could just change an entire mood with certain colors you pick. And I think when I bring that yellow in to really pop out these blues and greens, it's just, again, it's going to give it a larger than life fantasy look. And I'm excited to see how that turns out. And for those of you who have actually made it to this point of the color along, if you want to join me while we color, I always try to put my images that I'm doing color alongs, I try to give them away for free. That way you don't have to pay money to go out and color with me. So I have this one up on my Kofi page. So if you want to swing by over there and grab it, go ahead and do that while it's up. I don't have them up forever. I might leave them up for a week or two or until the next color along video comes along. So be sure to go grab it. Even if you don't have time to color it now, at least download it now so you don't miss out later. Donations are always welcome, but you don't have to if money is tight or you just don't like this video that much. You don't have to donate anything, but I just want to make sure that you are taken care of as far as this image goes. So swing by my Kofi page and grab it while it's up. Now, this is a last minute decision, so I'm going to try something a little different here. I'm going to make one of the flowers white, one of these roses. In my head, I had, a bunch of blue flowers, maybe blue and yellow, but I think it's going to change it up some. Again, because I have all intentions of doing a colorful background, it's going to make all the white objects pop a little more. If I wasn't going to do the colors in the background, I probably would do the flowers a blue or a yellow or red or whatever color, but I'm going into this knowing I'm going to support any of my white images with a colorful background. At this stage in the game, I'm going in pretty heavy with these colors because I know I didn't bring my blender, and I know the best I have, the closest thing to that is this white, which is not the best, this particular white. I'm using Tong Fu color pencils, which I like a lot. It's a budget set, and they're nothing spectacular, but I enjoy them, and they're easy travel pencils. Well, different sets are going to have different levels of white. This is one that it's an okay one. It's just a bit soft for it being a blender. So it's not doing a great job. This is somewhere up there as if I were to use a Caran d'Ache or a Thornton's blender. It's closer to that, but again, adding white to it, not ideal. So as I'm coloring, I'm using the color pencils themselves as the blender. I'm going really deep with the darks, and then I'm overlapping those with the middle yellows and then with the light yellows, and I'm just kind of washing them all together. I'm pushing them together with the pencils, with the colors themselves. So this is the best way I know how to make this work. This is an issue I shouldn't have again. I ended up getting a really nice travel pouch that's perfect. I got it specifically to keep my blenders in. So I grabbed a mid-range, an aggressive, and a soft. I stuck them in there, and it lives in my backpack now. So I should never forget my blenders again, because this is not the first time I've traveled to a cafe and completely forgot my blender. This is a budget brand, so usually I have more issues with it. Like a lot of times it can be brittle, but so far I've had no issues that, oh, what? It's a joke that'll never get old. In all honesty, though, I don't usually have any issues with this set. It's one of those, and I think a lot of y'all can relate. You know, we have the higher end color pencils that we use for pieces that we're really getting into, or that we have big visions for. And then we have the sets that we can kind of burn through and not feel guilty about it. This is definitely one of those sets. My sets like Tong Fu, Magic Fly, Queely, Art and Fly, Uku, any of those real generic brands, I never feel guilty about breaking the leads, or if I have to sharpen one and wear it down a lot. Those things never bother me. What I like about this, though, again, is it comes in a case, so it's really easy for me to just grab it, shove it in my backpack, and head out the door to do videos like this. So there is an appreciation in these type of low-budget sets. And at the end of the day, they get the job done. It's like I'm always saying, any car can get you where you need to go. It's just going to depend on if you want to get there in style. That's a budget set. You know, the result can be fantastic. Are they bringing you joy in using them? And if the answer is yes, it's a justifiable set to use. Okay, so something a little interesting here. I'm doing the background, and I'm using the same colors in the background that I used on the flowers. The reason this is able to work is because I'm going to push the dark parts of the yellow up against the light part of the yellows. What I mean by that is the edge of the rose, the yellow rose, is a really light yellow. Well, on the opposite side of that, I'm going to do the dark yellow, and that way it's going to give it the impression almost as if the rose color itself is bleeding out into the background. Now, I wouldn't use the light yellow right next to the light yellow, because that's just going to look like I colored outside the lines, and that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for this really soft, smooth color bleed, and this is just a fun way to make it work. Now, the other thing that you're going to find interesting is I've got two things going on. I got yellow and blue, and yet I'm not going to make green. I am going to push these colors extremely close together, but there is a really, really soft area in between the two where they will begin to overlap. But they are going to overlap in such a way that yellow and blue in this situation is not going to make green. It's just going to be where yellow meets blue. And in order to execute this properly, I'm going to have those two colors come together in their lightest form. So I'm not going to use my dark yellow and my dark blue to merge the two. I'm going to use the lightest yellow and I'm going to tease it into the lightest blue. And then where I do want it to overlap, I'm eventually going to go into it and purposely add green where they're kind of bleeding into each other, and also make it come out of the green petals. You'll see what I mean as I'm going, but it's a really fun and interesting way to do a background where you're able to pull off the exact same colors you used in the image for the background, and yet it's not going to be too much. It's when we get into this part right here where you can see what I was talking about earlier about having white objects. This rose looks incomplete until you start seeing the colors around it mixed in with the grays, the shadowing on the rose itself. Now this becomes more interesting, and that's why I love doing white objects so much. It just takes it from looking completely incomplete to all of a sudden it's showcasing the colors around it. And the rose is going to do that, and the cat is going to do that. It's going to pop what little colors are on those objects. And it's just one of those things, that's like the dessert to my meal, is doing white objects and blending. Those two things alone make coloring for me so much fun. Because I know I'm not going to use a blender, and honestly I don't usually use blenders on backgrounds. I just like that organic look. I like to be able to see the pencil strokes. But I'm taking my time with this. I'm feathering out my colors. I'm going with the dark blue, then I'm feathering with the light blue, and I'm doing that with the yellow. I'm going to do that with the turquoise. I'm just slowly pushing each pencil stroke so it merges seamlessly from one color to the other. And again, I'm trying to make it look as if the colors themselves are bleeding out of the objects and just kind of merging into one another on the background. And this is just one of those things that takes a little time to do, but the payoff is so worth it. So, it's really at this angle right here where we can kind of start seeing it come together, where we pull back a little ways from the close-ups of the image. this is, I think, what really attracts me to these white objects, white characters, like with the white fur or white clothing. It's the color that surrounds him just pops so much more. Like his eyes are popping so much more, and the blue stripes are popping so much more now that he has the grays that are within his fur that really accent the depth. And then it also, these bright, crisp colors behind him, that peach as it goes into the yellow, which goes into the blue, it really accents like his cheeks and the blush. And I really, really like the way it starts coming together when we start adding that surrounding color. And then putting all these little nuances, that peach, this really light purple. It's nothing that's real drastic or that stands out, but I'll continue to push these colors and get more and more in depth until this whole thing just starts to really sing, and all of these colors start to melt together so nicely. And it's like you could watch yourself performing magic and creating colors that just weren't there before. And I think that's really when it all comes down to it. When we start taking our time and really enjoying these things, that's where the magic of coloring really comes into play. So look, this video is wrapping up. This song's just going to take us through to the end. I'm going to keep working and pushing this background. I know the cafe videos like this isn't for everyone. I really enjoy them. I know it can be a little bit jarring with all the background noises and stuff, but I think that is what I like about it. So don't worry if you don't like it. This is a rarity. On my next color along, I'm sure it'll be back to the normal, natural, sweet sounds of birds and the winds and the breeze. But this is just something I enjoyed doing, so I wanted to share it with you. So I hope for the most part y'all enjoyed it too. But as always, I really, really appreciate y'all joining me, and I hope you had fun with me. Be sure to go to Kofi and pick this picture up while it's up and while it's free. And that way you can come back here and color along with me. So until next time, y'all have an amazing week.